Hey everyone, it's Brian and Rena here with Local Contractor Marketing. Hope you're having a great one today. Just we're going to continue our series on spooky SEO stories and spooky marketing stories. So hope you're having a great one today. Rena, great to see you. How are things going?
Good, not so spooky, but pretty good. Getting ready for Halloween and Women in Paint conference coming up, and lost my voice.
Uh-oh. Well, we'll have to make sure that we take care of that. You gotta have that speaking voice for women in paint. So that sounds like it's going to be an amazing event.
It'll be fun. We're going to have over 150 female painting contractors from around the nation coming to learn about business building, marketing, sales strategies, and just how to really level up their company. I'm super excited. I love this conference.
Very cool. Very cool. So continuing the topic of spooky stories, what are some things that you've seen recently?
You want to hear a good one? Like a
All
real
right.
good one? It's like it's so good, it's horrifically bad.
Oh no.
So this not client of mine had their registrar with the domains and oh my gosh. So this not client of mine had a registrar full of over 20 different domains, hired a website developer, foreign website developer.
Oh man.
And I had told this person that they needed the two-factor authentication. They needed to make sure it was protected. They needed to make sure they could have just done a little setting to make sure that somebody couldn't get in without their authorization. And they didn't listen. They didn't have IT, cybersecurity. They didn't have any of the basic things in place. And I got a front row seat of text messages and voice audible threads as this person, all 20 of their accounts got transferred, stolen from their former website developer on off the GoDaddy and Namecheap accounts onto other registrars that this person owned, and they stole all of their domains. It was a foreigner,
Oh
needed
man.
money, started doing that. It was horrific because they had a seven-figure company on one of them that's e-commerce based for that website. And all that person needed to do was switch the information on that account to
Oh
start
man.
filtering the money through. It was horrific years of work just watching it go by because they didn't have any cybersecurity. No,
Just simple,
nothing.
even simple precautions. It sounds like having two-factor understanding where, who was in the account, who owned the account, who's accessing the account. Um,
They
Definitely
they
some
owned
some
it.
very simple stuff. Yeah.
They owned it, but they gave all of their usernames and passwords because this person didn't want to do it themselves. And my heart goes out to them. Like it does
Yeah.
have a story to where the FBI got involved, cybersecurity in Pakistan got involved, and
Oh man.
they actually tracked this person down, were able to track this person down and caught them and beat the fluff out of them, apparently.
Oh wow.
And this person did get their domains back, but it was like FBI, local police, cyber police in Pakistan. It was like this whole thing, and that's not
Wow.
usually the case. I've never heard of someone being able to,
That's really uncommon.
yeah.
Most of the time when I've seen stuff like that happen, um, the domains are just you have a very small window to try and, appeal the case, but once they're moved out of your account and there's a little bit of a window, um, it sounds like they were able to get within that window, but typically if you're outside of that, it's kind of like giving someone, access to your bank account, right? Where you've kind of given them access. It's not necessarily something that you can say that, um, someone got in there maliciously or inadvertently if you've given them logins, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to be aware of is, lesson learned on that. Two factor. Make sure you know who's coming in and out of your accounts, and really make sure that access is limited to really just what they need. If you are doing kind of any admin access, know who it is that you're actually working with, right? Make sure that they are reputable, that they do have you know that that you do have a certain level of trust with them, and that you have kind of vetted them. So
Yeah,
that's a crazy story.
it
Crazy.
was.
Very spooky to say the least.
You should have
Um,
seen the text messages. Help me. How do I? And I was like, you're
yeah.
too far down. That's too far down that path for me or for Brian. Or I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty crazy.
crazy sauce. Like, tried to help you months ago. Yeah. Well, how about you?
Wow.
What's one or two of your favorite spooky stories that are coming up for you?
So one of the crazy stories that I've seen recently was um so we've seen and this has been covered a lot in industry news, but we've been seeing a lot of one-star review spam. So
Mm.
what happens is oftentimes you'll see a bunch of one-star reviews. Oftentimes this is from people that buy and sell reviews
Mhm.
anyway. But what they'll do is they'll leave you a string of one-star reviews on your account, and then they'll call you up and say, "Hey, you have these bad reviews. Would you like us to take them off?" And so, unfortunately, to kind of go over what we talked about in our last podcast, but you have to be aware of positive and negative reviews. Reviews are kind of the lifeblood, especially when it comes to local businesses. That can either make or break your business. And so, unfortunately, what a lot of these companies are doing that I've seen recently is they'll leave you a series of one-star reviews and then offer to take those off for you.
Oh,
And but it's typically at a price, and then they'll offer to get you reviews on the flip side. So it is one of those things that you do have to be aware of, who you're working with. Obviously, Google has a very and it's not just Google, but the FCC actually has very they have very stringent guidelines on what you can ask for reviews about, what the review guidelines are. It's not just a Google thing, and I do want to underscore that it is actually a federal issue. So,
uh-huh.
a word of the wise, it's not a good idea to buy or sell reviews. It's just not a
What's
good
the
idea to
fine
do
for
it.
that if you get caught?
47,300 or $500 per review.
That's insane,
So you better have deep pockets if that's the game you want to play in. Um,
right? Negative reviews.
and so that is one thing that I've seen recently. I've also seen stuff where some other really odd things. Google Business Profile or GMB or whatever iteration is that you want to call it. It occasionally goes through these weird little hiccups. And there's a few different reasons I think for that. One of them being that Google really doesn't make a whole lot of money off of it, aside from um, maybe some of the paid ads for maps.
Uh-huh.
It's not really a primary thing that they get money off of. So what they're getting is data. And occasionally, this is kind of why their support for it absolutely is abysmal. But
Right.
they don't make money off of it. It's not a primary profit driver for them. So what's crazy is that I've been in situations where recently where a website got suspended, a identical website was propped up. So you have like this weird doppelganger with the exact same information, but it
Uh-huh.
shut down all of the rest of their uh it shut down the rest of their reviews. So imagine you have an account that has over 100 reviews, gets shut down, an identical one gets propped up by Google, and it has zero reviews.
Wow.
But then when you try to
Why?
recover,
Why?
when you try to recover, the 100 reviews is inaccessible.
Wow.
So it's almost like the business is starting from ground zero. Um,
That's
and
horrible.
so that is a absolutely crazy story outside of nefarious actors or things like that. This is just a bug within the Google ecosphere that is a problem. So I've seen this on occasion. It's not a super common thing, but you can imagine you've worked tirelessly to get those reviews. And I get it with local contractors. Reviews, especially in the local market, again, it's your lifeblood.
Matter. Yeah.
And if you all of a sudden are missing 100 reviews based on your competitor, you could imagine what that's going to do to your ranking because reviews are a primary factor in
I
how
know
local
some,
businesses appear.
and that's how some of the local contractors dominate maps, like 800 and something reviews
Yeah.
compared to their competitors that only have 100. Could you imagine how that would decimate some of the contractors' rankings
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
overnight? Gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so these are just crazy things that we see, as we're working on different projects. It's just absolutely it, it it's not the norm, but when it does happen, it's jaw dropping. It is definitely a horror story. So
Yeah, I've been seeing the GBPs get suspended and pop back up, or suspended, appealed, deleted. And we've had a lot of that this last like year and a half, I think, more so than
yeah,
before.
they tend to be really volatile. And just, for anyone watching, kind of a pro tip here is just be aware that as we head into the fall season, typically right before Thanksgiving. So here in, I would say within 2 weeks to 4 weeks, give or take. And I would lay money on this actually. You're going to see Google roll out their core update. Typically, that is the first part of November or end of October. Um, so you'll see that, and usually you'll start seeing weird stuff happening with rankings here in the next week or two. But what you're going to find is that right before Black Friday, things are going to go bonkers. They're going to go absolutely crazy. Um,
Every
so
year.
by end of November, you're going to see the rankings just all over the place. This is an annual thing Google does. Um, there's speculation as to why they do it, and the big thing is that if you're not running paid ads, you should really consider running paid ads right now because it helps stabilize kind of what's going on. Surprise, surprise. Google paid ads are the solution, right? Um,
Yeah, at least there's a
but
solution,
there is a little bit of a
even
solution,
if they're creating the problem.
right? The arsonist and the firefighter. Um, but one of the things to bear in mind is that with local, December in about up to mid-January, that's when we see a lot of volatility and just craziness happen with the GBPs. So for any contractors out there that are watching, just be aware that is kind of a thing. It's common. I've seen it happen over the last anywhere from 5 years to 8 years. It's been kind of like clockwork, that this is coming, and which is kind of looming and foreboding in our spooky SEO stories talks here. But
Right?
it is something that is coming, you know, and
It
it
is.
cue the spooky music, right? Um, it's something to be aware of. It happens every single year right around this time. And so it's best to just be prepared for it.
What could
Understand.
somebody do to prepare for that? What would
So
you do to prepare for that when you
good
say
question. So a few things that I've seen are have strong branding, and we've spent quite a bit of time talking about what is a brand and how companies should consider, their brand. At the end of the day, it really comes down to how are you showing up, and are you becoming a household name, right? Are you the Jello or Kleenex type brand where whether it's you, the dollar store brand, some weird generic offshoot, when they think of fill in the blank service, home remodeling in Denver, home remodeling in Chicago, roofer in, Pennsylvania. If someone is considering that and your brand is associated or very prominent with that broad term, you win the game. That's the easiest way to kind of put that. The other way to, but that does take time, right? And obviously, if we're talking this thing is coming in anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, you probably don't have enough time to do that. There's ways to do that, but it tends to be very aggressive, and you do have to have you have to understand that there's resource allocation that needs to happen there. The other
Resource
thing to do,
allocation. That's a nice way of saying you need money.
yeah, you have to, well, and it's not just money, but you have to have time, money, budget, resources available to you. That, I mean, you could potentially do a viral type of event by doing a PR stunt, but again, that does cost money,
Yeah.
right?
And you'd have to plan that out. That takes time.
Exactly. And that's kind of
God.
where you look at time. The
Yeah.
quick way to do it would be running some paid ads to kind of help stabilize. And that's where, as a part of our strategy, we recommend both paid ads and organic search. It's do all the things, right? Paid ads, organic SEO, social media. You want to just, again, amplify your brand so that people know who you are and all about your business, right? Who you are, what you do, where you do it, why you do it, how you do it. It's the typical journalistic kind of questions that we may have. So
Mhm.
when you can establish that and when you can really kind of solidify that in on your brand, you win. Now, one thing that I do recommend, as we're kind of wrapping up the end of the year, and I know a lot of, especially a lot of contractors, right? They're in either a slow season now or kind of going into slow season, depending on whether, other circumstances like, the market and kind of, market volatility, anything like that. The one thing that I do recommend people as we go into kind of the winter season, which typically is kind of a slump season for a lot of contractors,
Uh-huh.
use that to build yourself up and amplify. Think of it as the pit stop where everyone else is getting their tires changed and having maintenance done. It's your opportunity to close that gap. So if you are able to press on and press forward, you can really kind of get ahead of that competition. You can close that gap so that when spring hits and you're getting into the busy season, you're poised and prepared to better take on the market as a leading contender.
Already in the race and not
Absolutely.
starting from the start line, but you're like somewhere in between.
Yeah, you're already half a lap or, whatever.
Like I was just we just picked up, yeah, we just picked up a new client this morning. And I had this
Woo!
exact same conversation with them about, you might not be able to invest a ton yet or do the Venturian Fact or Inferno method, but at least you'll be in the race and getting the foundational work, the brand signals sent out, and ensuring that and they're an established company too.
Yeah.
They've been around for years and they're doing good, but they could do so much better once they have these things in place. And it's just the SEO basics and the consistency, frequency content. There are a
Yeah.
lot of companies that don't understand like the importance of having something so they can get ahead of the dudes who are doing nothing with the economy and the drop that we just had and a lot of contractors like not doing marketing anymore. There's a huge vacuum, there's a huge gap, and it's waiting for these other companies to step in. The ones who doubled down this last year are doing well now. They've made their money. Everything got stepped up, especially as things started turning. Contractors have been getting more business, more work. And we're starting to see the companies who are at least doing something that whole time are the ones who are getting the calls. And then the ones who stopped,
Yeah.
are like back at the start line again. They just got left so far behind. So now is the time to start taking these steps again. If you stopped, or double down, triple down, invest. Like,
Right.
be prepared
Don't
for
be a
your
spooky
stuff,
story. Let's get people to where they need to be.
right?
So, and on that, um, I think that that's a good place to kind of end it for our spooky stories for today. Um, Next week, you're going to be at Women in Paint. Um, if people aren't following you, best ways to get in touch with you.
Uh,
Facebook.
Facebook, Facebook's the easiest way.
Perfect.
Like, it's just, I'm on it all the time. You're like, oh, so old, what about Insta? I'm like, yeah, I'm there, but like, Facebook's the best way to get a hold of me for any of your wants or needs. Or you could always look up Tipping Point Digital and other infos on there as well to
Outstanding.
contact me and Brian for whatever it is that you need. So,
Cool.
yeah, that's that.
Outstanding. Well, that's going to be another wrap. Anyone that's watching this on the replay, if you do have questions, feel free, leave us a comment down below. Ask us any questions that you have about digital marketing, SEO, pay-per-click ads, social media marketing and management. We'd love to hear from you. Let's put
Yeah,
some stuff down below. Like,
ask
follow,
questions.
subscribe, ask questions. All right.
Yep.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one,
Have a wonderful
everybody.
week,
See you
everyone.
next
Make it
week.
great.